Welcome to the Ultimate Depression Survival Kit, How to Overcome and Master Depression with me, Dr. Moses Simuyemba. Today is the icing on the cake. We are on day 30 and we look at 15 scientific secrets to beat depression you can use right away. So here it is. It has taken months and months of work reviewing over 2,500 articles, published articles in journals on the latest research in the world on depression over the past 10 years. And I've collected the best of it to show you 15 things you can do right away to overcome depression. Now, this is the strongest scientific evidence you can have for this, and it is the most up-to-date and best science available. If you'd like to read more about the articles that I will go through in this video, feel free to check the links at the bottom of this page. You are free to download the summary PDF document that summarizes all the articles I've reviewed in the Ultimate Depression Survival Kit. You can also download individual articles on the links provided. So let's get right into it. Number one way to overcome depression is to eat more bacteria. Yes, that might sound funny, but do you know that healthy gut bacteria are essential to good health generally, but also some have been found to be important for mental health too. So gut probiotics, which is healthy bacteria, play a major role in the bidirectional communication between the gut and the brain through what is known as the gut-brain connection. Scientists are increasingly convinced that the vast assemblage of microbiota in our intestines may have a major impact on our state of mind. So gut microorganisms are able to produce and deliver such neuroactive substances as serotonin and gamma-aminobutyric acid. So you know that these have a role to play in depression, as we covered in the video on antidepressants, that serotonin is one of the neurotransmitters that is often at play when it comes to depression. So these gut microbacteria actually produce serotonin and other substances that are active and important for the brain. Some of these bacteria that are important are bifidobacterium and lactobacillus as examples. And here is one study to back that up by Huang et al. In 2016, who did a systematic review of 5 clinical trials titled The Effects of Probiotics on Depression. One probiotic capsule was given plus 100 grams conventional yogurt a day, and they found that probiotics were associated with a significant reduction in depression. Probiotics significantly decreased the depression scale score in the participants that took this one probiotic capsule a day plus 100 grams conventional yogurt. They go on to say that the meta-analysis showed that probiotics significantly decreased the depression scale score in the subjects, and they had an effect on both the healthy population and patients with major depressive disorder. Probiotics had an effect on the population aged under 60 rather, while it had no effect on people aged over 65. So those are the findings from here. So they conclude that these findings suggest an important role for probiotics in reducing the risk of depression in non-depressed individuals. So there you go. It can decrease the risk of depression in those that are not depressed, but also be beneficial to those that are depressed. Apart from this benefit of probiotics on depression, there are other benefits of probiotics. They can decrease the number of potential pathogenic gastrointestinal microorganisms and pathogens, because these healthy bacteria fight the unhealthy bacteria that you may have in your gut, and therefore they can be healthy for that. They can reduce gastrointestinal discomfort, flatulence, and bloating too. And I testify to that. I travel with probiotics wherever I go. I used to be so scared of eating things when I travel around, but now I can eat whatever I want because I know that if I have any abdominal discomfort at all, taking a probiotic will sort it out within an hour or two, easy, and decrease flatulence and the bloating. They improve bowel regularity and also enhance the immune system. So definitely something that needs to be looked at in your life is probiotics. They have multiple benefits as well as helping you with depression. Here we go. Other benefit, they improve the skin's function, enhance resistance against cedar pollen allergens, and decrease body pathogens. They also protect DNA, proteins, and lipids from oxidative damage and maintain an individual's intestinal microbiota in subjects receiving antibiotic treatment. This is a very big one. When you take antibiotics, you know, the antibiotics don't know what is good bacteria in your body and what is not. They wipe out everything. And so taking a probiotic makes sure that you replenish the healthy bacteria that is essential to your body's function, including your mental health. Here is a quick list of where you can get probiotics. Examples of foods that give you probiotics. There's cheese and fermented products, yogurt, sauerkraut, tempeh, kimchi, miso as examples. Some of you might be familiar with all these foods in your areas or your local traditions. Basically, foods that are to do with fermentation have good bacteria in them. Others are kombucha, pickles, traditional buttermilk, mabisi in African setting, kefir, and they can also be obtained as supplements. And I will show you a little bit later the supplement I take that contains good probiotics. Examples of those are Probiflora and Actilosa. Those are brand names of some of the probiotics that I can attest to that I have tried in the past and presently. Number 2, get yourself pricked. Acupuncture is one of the most popular complementary therapies and is best known for its ability to provide pain relief. But did you know it also has benefits for mental health? So acupuncture has been found to have antidepressive effects too, and these involve neurotransmitters and hormonal pathways that influence depression. It has been found to regulate monoamine transmitters in the prefrontal cortex, increasing serotonin and norepinephrine levels, and increasing activity of serotonergic neurons in the reward system pathway of the brain. So we know that serotonin and norepinephrine are two of the key neurotransmitters involved in depression, and acupuncture has been found to have an effect on this. So exciting news there. Other effects of acupuncture include that it increases nocturnal melatonin secretion and therefore reduces insomnia and anxiety. It is also capable of rapidly increasing the body release of endogenous opioid peptides associated with the production of pleasure and relief of anxiety and gastrointestinal discomfort. Acupuncture also reduces the levels of stress hormones in the body and regulates expression of certain genes linked to depression. It may treat depression by influencing the neuroendocrine and immune systems through the regulation of levels of serotonin, norepinephrine, dopamine, endorphins, and glucocorticoids. It also stimulates the hypothalamic and hippocampal responses and regulates the expression of certain genes. So you can see that acupuncture has very wide effects on the body there. And let's look now at one research on acupuncture by Chan et al. In 2015, who reviewed 15 different studies. This was titled The Benefit of Combined Acupuncture and Antidepressant Medication for Depression. And they found that acupuncture combined with antidepressant medication is effective, has an early onset of action, is safe and well tolerated over the first 6 weeks of treatment. Moreover, this treatment combination appears to result in greater therapeutic efficacy than SSRI therapy. SSRI therapy is just selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor therapy, which is one form of antidepressant. So basically what this is saying is that antidepressants combined with acupuncture yield greater results than just antidepressants alone. Here are further results showing that acupuncture combined with antidepressants was effective both in week 1 and week 6 of the study. And this showed that it was favorable to combine acupuncture with antidepressants, and the other results also show the same thing. So good results from this study showing that combining acupuncture with antidepressants works very well. Like I said, if you want to read more about these articles, get more into the science, follow the links at the bottom of this page and you can be able to do so. Number 3, run for your life. Exercise has been shown to be effective in reducing symptoms of depression in many studies, and the benefits of exercise are many, both mentally and physically. If you need to review the evidence we discussed in an earlier video, go back to Secrets to Having Unbeatable Energy, which is one of the videos in this series of the Ultimate Depression Survival Kit. And there you see more information about studies that have been conducted on the benefits of exercise as far as depression is concerned. Here is a long list of the mental and general benefits of depression. So both the mental and physical benefits, from improving sleep to improving concentration, social life benefits, reducing stress, improving memory, improving mood, reducing anxiety. Ooh, that's a long list. And the general benefits when it comes to your musculoskeletal system in terms of improving mobility, coordination, weight management, boosting immunity, and so on. So really wide benefits of exercise, and these have all been proven by research. Add exercise to your arsenal when it comes to overcoming depression. If you can, also watch the short video I made about my personal journey of fitness, gymming, and exercise. You can see there what a difference it has made to my physique, and not only my physique, but other things like my confidence, less anxiety, and of course, when fighting depression. So watch that, get some inspiration on what you can do as far as exercise goes to fight your depression. So find some exercise that works for you. It can be yoga, it can be running, it can be weightlifting, it can be anything, but you need to add exercise to your arsenal when it comes to overcoming depression. It is very effective, and for me, one of the top things to add no matter what is exercise and diet if you want to overcome and master depression. Number 4, stretch and twist. Yoga has been found to have physical as well as mental health benefits. So other than the general benefits of exercise, since yoga is a form of exercise, so it has all those benefits, the additional benefit of yoga is that it improves memory and thinking. So it has been found to improve cognitive ability, which other exercise doesn't seem to do. So the benefits of yoga are many. It can decrease stress, relieve anxiety, reduce inflammation, improve heart health, improve quality of life, and may fight depression. And I will show you a study shortly that shows actually it can fight depression. It could promote sleep quality, improve flexibility and balance, improve breathing, may relieve migraines, promotes healthy eating habits, and can increase strength as well as reducing chronic pain. Here is a study by Juan et al. Published in 2016, and it was a systematic review of 29 studies titled Exercise Improves Clinical Symptoms, Quality of Life, Global Functioning, and Depression in Schizophrenia. So they said that physical exercise is a robust add-on treatment for improving clinical symptoms, quality of life, global functioning, and depressive symptoms generally, and that exercise reduced symptoms in depression in participants, but yoga in particular improved the cognitive subdomain of long-term memory. So yoga improved memory other than the other benefits of exercise. Thus, yoga has same benefits as other exercise, but an additional benefits is improving your thinking ability and memory. So powerful stuff there. Yoga, imagine, can improve your thinking ability and memory too, other than helping you combat depression. So add yoga to your arsenal if that is something you are inclined to do. Number 5, spice it up. There is a spice called saffron, and it is one of the most expensive spices in the world. But do you know that preclinical studies suggest that compounds contained within saffron have a range of potentially relevant mechanisms of action, including antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, and are able to modulate brain-derived neurotropic factor expression and the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axes. So there you go, that saffron actually can affect brain functioning through these neurotransmitters, BDNF, as well as affecting the functioning of the hypothalamus, the pituitary glands, and the adrenal glands, which all produce important factors or important substances that affect brain function. We know that inflammation has a role to play in depression as well, so it also has anti-inflammatory effects. Existing evidence suggests a potential for saffron to be an efficacious intervention for symptoms of depression and anxiety. Here is a study by Marks et al. Published in 2019, a systematic review of 23 studies titled Effect of Saffron Supplementation on Symptoms of Depression and Anxiety. So studies have been done on this, 23 different ones to be specific, plus this one which reviewed them. And it was found that saffron had a large positive effect size when compared with placebo for depressive symptoms and anxiety symptoms. Saffron also had a large positive effect when used as an adjunct to antidepressants for depressive symptoms. So saffron could be an effective intervention for symptoms of depression and anxiety. So in a nutshell, saffron had effects on reducing symptoms of anxiety on its own, as well as when combined with antidepressants. So very good evidence there from these 23 different studies that show that saffron can be protective against symptoms of depression. Add it to your food if you want. If you can afford it, it is a good spice to have. Another one here by Hossenblas et al., published in 2013, a systematic review of 5 clinical trials actually, titled Saffron and Major Depressive Disorder. And a large effect size was found for saffron supplementation versus placebo control in treating depressive symptoms, revealing that saffron supplementation significantly reduced depression symptoms compared to the placebo control condition. A null effect size was evidence between saffron supplementation versus antidepressant groups, indicating that both treatments were similarly effective in reducing depressive symptoms. Isn't that powerful stuff, folks? So what that last statement says basically is that saffron was found to be as effective as antidepressants in treating depression. Isn't that just exciting stuff? And these are clinical trials, by the way, so very strong studies. Number 6, laugh it off. Laughing can be therapeutic, did you know? And can reduce symptoms of depression. Both simulated and humorous laughter work in relieving depression. So simulated laughter is where you just mimic the actions of laughing without necessarily finding anything funny. Laughter has shown to produce effects on many levels: emotional, psychological, behavioral, and biological. And the social aspect of laughing together seems to be an advantage to alleviate societal problems such as loneliness, bullying at schools, or aggression in general. And we did look at isolation, social contact, and its importance to depression and the risks one faces with depression when it comes to isolation and how it can affect your healing from depression. So laughing can be one way of having that social contact or cementing that social contact, but it has been found to have other benefits too. Here is one study, can you imagine, on laughter by Van der Waal and Koch, published in 2019, and they reviewed 86 different studies on laughter. It was titled Laughter-Inducing Therapies, a Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis. They found that simulated or non-humorous laughter is actually more effective than spontaneous or humorous laughter, and that secondly, laughter-inducing therapies can improve depression. With rising healthcare costs and increasingly elderly population, there is a potential for low-cost, simple interventions that can be administered by staff with minimal training, such as laughter. And that laughter-inducing therapies show a promise as an addition to main therapies, but they say more research is required. Well, there's 86 studies there already showing that laughter does have an effect on improving depressive symptoms. So laugh it off. Number 7, munch it up. Diet has a significant role to play in our physical and mental well-being. There is no doubt about it. It is about meeting energy needs, meeting nutrient needs, weight control, and pleasure, but it is also about mental well-being. And we cover diet in detail and the research around diet, the micronutrients that work, the portions you need to have, what kind of diets work, and so on and so forth in the video titled Secrets to Having Unbeatable Energy. And in that video, we discussed diet and exercise and its importance to your mental well-being and to overcoming depression. So go back to that if you need to read more about the studies, but I will give a brief summary here of some of the things we discussed there. So here was the summary of what we said you need to have in your diet in order for you to beat depression. This was backed up by research. Remember, I presented the various research that shows the benefits of this when it comes to depression. So you need to have a balanced diet first of all. So balance is important. Make sure you're getting the right mix of nutrients, your fruits and vegetables, if you can see there on the right, your proteins, and your fiber-rich carbohydrates in the proportions that they're required in. Omega-3 fatty acids or polyunsaturated fatty acids are also beneficial to depression, and these are found in large quantities in fish and fish oil-related products. Also, these micronutrients have been shown to have an effect in improving depression. Zinc, folic acid, vitamin C, vitamin D, magnesium, and vitamin B. Also, S-adenosilmethionine and olive oil, as well as diets rich in fruits, vegetables, nuts, and legumes. So you need to add that to your diet. Avoiding refined foods and fast sugars, which have a high glycemic index and release sugar quickly into your bloodstream, can help you to beat depression. So aim for glycemic index of 55 or less. The bottom line of that, if you want to simplify that, is aim for unrefined things such as brown sugar, brown bread, brown rice, and so on. These are absorbed far less quickly than white refined things. So low glycemic index has benefits to depression. So watch your diet, folks. That can help you as far as depression is concerned. And these are the supplements that I take as far as diet is concerned, because you realize no matter how balanced or good your diet is, it may be impossible to meet all your nutrient needs just through food intake. However, the caution here is that never use supplements as a way of having or to get away with bad diet. Supplements need to be combined with good diet so that they make up for only the nutrients you may be lacking. So you need a multivitamin with all those nutrients such as calcium, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C that we talked about. You need a probiotic such as Probiflora here, which is my favorite. There are different ones. Some come with 4 strains, some single strain. This one has 9 strains. I love it because it has all the good bacteria in it. So you need that. As we covered, that probiotics have a beneficial effects on depression. And you also need omega-3 oils, and there it comes nicely packaged. You just take 1 capsule a day with your meal and you are done. So supplementation can be of benefit, but make sure you do not neglect good dietary practices. Number 8, ditch the phone. Problematic phone use has been linked to social isolation, anxiety, depression, poor quality of sleep, lack of focus, and feeling mentally drained. And we covered studies that looked at smartphone use and depression and is linked to mental health generally in the video titled The Biggest Secret to Overcoming Depression. Go back to that if you need to look at the evidence, but ditching your phone can be one way to counter or overcome your depression. So ditch the phone. Control how much time you spend on phones and social media. Set aside special time with family where phones are not allowed in order to maintain that important social contact and avoid isolation. Take a social media break altogether once in a while for some days, weeks, or even months sometimes can be helpful. Be on less social media platforms. You don't have to be on all the platforms. You don't need Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything, or just decide to be on a few social networks. That can help you a lot. Turn off social media notifications. This can be a very helpful thing. You know, you don't need to be notified of every like, every click, every comment. That is so distracting and can have you hooked to your phone all day. Have a phone-free day every week, perhaps. Read or listen to a book instead on your phone. You know, that can be very helpful rather than being just on social media. And if you absolutely cannot get away from being on your phone, try getting a basic handset that doesn't have social media capabilities. That might help you to stay off social media and be less on your phone. So folks, ditch the phone. Take a break from the phone. It will help you when it comes to overcoming depression. Number 9, forgive. So we looked at studies on forgiveness, its role in depression in the video titled The Number One Method to Gain Absolute Mental Freedom. Go back to that if you have to. And we showed in this video how forgiveness helps in alleviating depressive symptoms, reduces suicide risk, and that forgiveness is about forgiving self, but also forgiving others. And we looked at all the benefits of forgiveness as far as research has been able to show as it relates to mental health and particularly as it relates to depression. So go back to that video if you need to, but forgiveness is one thing you can do to overcome depression that is scientifically proven. We covered in that video in great detail the benefits of forgiveness and the process of forgiveness, and there are also additional videos that I presented on that day for you to look at that can help you with forgiveness and people's experiences with forgiveness. So I will just cover it very briefly here, that you do not forgive for the sake of the person who hurt you, you forgive for your own sake. Forgiveness heals you, not the person who hurt you, though it may also lead them to healing. Forgiveness overall gives you peace, and it is about letting go of that heavy burden you carry. So that can be very useful to relieving stress and relieving anxiety and relieving depression. Please go back to the video if you need to learn more about that. Number 10, ditch the bottle. So alcohol has an effect on depression, both in terms of being a precipitator of depression as well as being a consequence of depression. When people start self-medicating, alcohol use dependence increases the chances of depression, and depression also puts you at greater risk of alcohol use dependence. So neurophysiological and metabolic changes resulting from exposure to alcohol have been shown to predispose you to depression. And for the studies on smoking and the link to depression, as well as alcohol and the link to depression, go back to the Biggest Secret to Overcoming Depression video that tells you more about the studies around this. Like smoking, alcohol has detrimental health effects on every system in your body. So ditch the bottle in order to be depression free. Number 11, snuff it out. Quit smoking. There is no safe level of smoking. Get that very clearly. In cross-sectional studies, smoking was associated with a nearly twofold increased risk of depression relative to both never smokers and former smokers. And prospective studies show that the odds of subsequent depression were also higher for current than never smokers. And for studies on smoking and the link to depression, watch the video, The Biggest Secret to Overcoming Depression, if you have not already done so. So smoking adversely affects every system in your body, just like alcohol does, as mentioned earlier. It causes more deaths each year than the following causes combined in some countries: HIV, illegal drug use, alcohol use, motor vehicle injuries, and firearm-related incidents. Imagine smoking causes more deaths than all of those combined in countries like the United States. More than 10 times as many US citizens have died prematurely from cigarette smoking than have died in all the wars fought by the United States. Very scary statistics there. Smoking is not good for your health, is not good for your mental health, is not good for depression. Smoking causes about 90% or 9 out of 10 of all lung cancer deaths in the United States. More women die from lung cancer deaths each year than from breast cancer. And it causes about 80% of all deaths from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD. Cigarette smoking increases the risk for death from all causes in men and women. All causes, get that clearly, not just lung cancer, not just cigarette smoking deaths, but all causes. You are more at risk of dying from anything else if you are smoking. The risk of dying from cigarette smoking has increased over the last 50 years in the US. So very harsh statistics there. And I'm only using the US as an example because the statistics are very well collected there, unlike a lot of other countries. So get that very clearly. Smoking is bad for you. It's bad for your mental health. So snuff it out. Number 12, relax. Chronic stress has been linked to depression by various studies, especially work-related stress in particular, because let's face it, we spend a lot of time at work. You are twice as likely to suffer from depression if you are stressed at work. And for studies on this and the link of stress to depression, go back to the video, The Biggest Secret to Overcoming Depression, and you will get the studies and the evidence around chronic stress or work-related stress and its link to depression. So finding ways to deal with or avoid stress can greatly reduce the risk of depression and depressive symptoms. So learn to relax as a way of overcoming depression. Make it a regular part of your schedule, even daily, after work. Find ways to relax, stay away from work, stay away from the laptop, stay away from work emails, watch a movie, do something that relaxes your mind and gets you off thinking about work or other stresses of the day. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't spend your night thinking about what you have to do tomorrow. Just put your mind in a relaxed state. And we did cover other things you can do, such as mindfulness, meditation, and so on, that can help you to relax. Bottom line is, find something to relax you that works for you, because that can help you to overcome depression. Number 13, pet it. Get yourself a pet. Having a pet can help reduce feelings of loneliness, of isolation, of anxiety, and depression. And pets help people relax and ease their emotional distress, especially in vulnerable patients such as the elderly, seniors, those with dementia, or children with autism. Pets have been found to be very beneficial. The downside of pets is, of course, that they have a shorter lifespan than we have most of the time. And so when the animal gets injured, sick, or dies, this can cause grief, but that is a natural part of living. We risk death every day, every minute, every second we live. So we must not be scared of that. Overall, there is a benefit for both adults and children, especially in the elderly, of having a pet. So consider having a pet. I love dogs. They're my favorite pet. But I've kept animals in the past, such as parrots, rabbits, and so on. And they are all beneficial. They will just brighten up your day no matter what you are going through. Number 14, smell it. Aromatherapy has been found to be beneficial to alleviating symptoms of depression. Here is one study by Sanchez Vedana et al. Published in 2017. It was a systematic review of 12 different studies titled The Effectiveness of Aromatherapy for Depressive Symptoms. And they say 7 studies showed improvement in depressive symptoms from aromatherapy. Aromatherapy showed potential to be used as an effective therapeutic option for the relief of depressive symptoms in a wide variety of subjects. And in particular, aromatherapy massage showed to have more beneficial effects than inhalation aromatherapy. So massage with aromatherapy was found to be more beneficial than just aromatherapy on its own. But definitely there is strong evidence from all these studies showing that aromatherapy can help alleviate depression symptoms. Another one by Kim et al., published in 2016, also looked at 12 different studies titled Effects of Aromatherapy on Menopausal Symptoms, Perceived Stress, and Depression in Middle-Aged Women. And this study found that aromatherapy massage was favorably effective in reducing the menopausal symptoms compared to the control group and compared to the placebo group. So also aromatherapy was effective in reducing stress and depression in this group of women. More exciting studies there on aromatherapy. Another one by Tang and Se in 2014 titled Aromatherapy, Does It Help to Relieve Pain, Depression, Anxiety, and Stress in Community Dwelling Older Persons this time? And they found that there was a slight reduction in the pain score in the intervention group. There was a significant reduction in negative emotions in this group as well. And aromatherapy program can be an effective tool to reduce pain, depression, anxiety, and stress levels among community dwelling older adults. So a very good study there on the benefits of aromatherapy to adult population or seniors, and it found that it is very beneficial in reducing depression symptoms as well as alleviating pain. Last one by Conrad and Adams in 2012, The Effects of Clinical Aromatherapy for Anxiety and Depression in High-Risk Postpartum Women. These are women that have just delivered. And they found that there was no difference between aromatherapy and control groups at the beginning of the study, that is, before they did the intervention, right? But at midpoint, the final scores indicated that aromatherapy had significant improvements, greater than the control group, and these improvements were both on depression and anxiety. There was no adverse effects reported from aromatherapy, and they conclude that this study indicates positive findings with minimal risk for the use of aromatherapy as a complementary therapy in both anxiety and depression scales with postpartum women. So aromatherapy there can be added to your list, to your arsenal when it comes to combating depression. Number 15, drink it. Green tea, coffee, and caffeine have been associated with lower risk of depression in several studies. I love tea, and especially green tea, and tea with honey, and tea with anything else. So this was great news for me to know that tea can actually be protective against depression. You will not be surprised that I have since started drinking even more tea than I was drinking in the past. Here's some research. Dong et al. Did a meta-analysis of 11 different studies titled Tea Consumption and the Risk of Depression. And compared to individuals with lower tea consumptions, those with higher tea consumption had a pooled relative risk of depression of 0.69. All that means is that those with higher tea consumption had a lowered risk of depression than those with lower tea consumption. 8 reports were included in the dose-response analysis of tea consumption and depression risk. There was a linear association between tea consumption and risk of depression, with an increment of 3 cups a day in tea consumption associated with a decrease in the risk of depression. So they conclude that tea consumption is associated with a decreased risk of depression of 37%. So this study showing that the more tea you drink, actually, the lower your risk of depression. Another one by Pham et al. In 2014, green tea and coffee consumption is inversely associated with depressive symptoms in a Japanese working population. This study found that higher green tea consumption was associated with a lower prevalence of depressive symptoms. Compared with participants consuming less than 1 cup a day, those consuming greater than 4 cups a day or equal to 4 cups a day of green tea had a 51% significantly lower prevalence odds of having depressive symptoms after adjusting for confounders. Okay, and coffee consumption was also inversely associated with depressive symptoms. Multiple adjusted odds for depressive symptoms, comparing the highest with the lowest quantile of caffeine consumption, was 0.57, showing that actually the tea and coffee consumption decreased the depressive symptoms according to dose. So the more of it you took, the less your chances of having depressive symptoms, or the better the improvement in your depressive symptoms. Again, if you want to read more about these studies, go to the links provided. Another one by Kim and Kim in 2018, green tea, coffee, and caffeine consumption are inversely associated with self-reported lifetime depression in a Korean population. They found that frequent green tea consumption of greater than or equal to 3 cups a week had 21% lower prevalence of depression than green tea non-consumers after adjusting for confounders. Likewise, frequent coffee drinkers, that is 2 cups or more a day, had 32% lower prevalence of depression than coffee non-drinkers after adjusting. Also, participants in the highest quartile of coffee consumption had 24% lower risk or lower prevalence of depression than those in the lower quartile. So again, showing a dose response there. So they conclude that frequent consumption of green tea, coffee, or caffeine was associated with a reduced prevalence of self-reported lifetime depression in Korean adults. Exciting stuff there. Lastly, Grosso et al. In 2016 did a meta-analysis of 12 studies titled Coffee, Tea, Caffeine, and Risk of Depression, a systematic review and dose response meta-analysis. Compared to individuals with lower coffee consumption, those with higher intakes had pooled relative risk of 0.76, meaning they had lower risk of depression than those who did not consume coffee. And peak protection was at 400 mils of coffee a day. A borderline non-significant association between tea consumption and risk of depression was found, while significant results were found only for analysis of prospective studies regarding caffeine consumption. This study suggests a protective effect of coffee and partially of tea and caffeine on risk of depression. So when you put all these studies together, definitely there is a strong association between depression, coffee, caffeine, and tea. And these 3, coffee, caffeine, tea, have a protective effect in reducing depression symptoms. Medical marijuana the verdict is still out on medical marijuana. That's why I have not included it as part of this list, but I bring it up here because research is now expanding on medical marijuana and its role in depression and mental health generally. I am sure we will find some exciting news soon, but let's look out for this. Right now, I could not find any studies supporting the use of medical marijuana in combating depression, although, of course, there are stories, individual stories here and there of people benefiting from it from a mental health perspective, but we need strong studies to show this, and these studies are underway, so watch out for that evidence coming soon. And there we go. That is it. So remember, for those things that I did not show you any studies, go back to the previous videos that I talked about to find the studies and links and read more about what the studies show about those particular areas, such as exercise, smoking, alcohol, diet, and so on, that are covered in other videos. The only evidence I showed in this video was evidence that I did not show in previous videos for new things like aromatherapy and so on and so forth. Do the exercises, see what you can add to your arsenal to overcome depression from these 15. But this is exciting stuff backed up by science that you can definitely trust and depend on when it comes to overcoming and mastering depression. Well done for making it through the 30 days of the Ultimate Depression Survival Kit. It has been my pleasure to guide you through this. I hope it has been beneficial to you and as exciting for you to learn these things as it was for me to teach them to you or tell you about them. Have a great day.